I was sorry to read of the death of Charlie Newling. He was a reality TV star from the Australian series of The Bachelorette, and his car went over a cliff yesterday. And he was 36 years old. He had just become the father of a small child. He was formerly a builder who found his way onto reality TV and was extremely successful on the show, but it takes its toll. And there were threats to his life. He was on a TV show just before he had his car crash, and that involved, I believe, a series of threats. People saying are you still controlled by that flog of a husband? I'm going to kill him one day in front of you before I go. You have no idea what I'm capable of, but just know it's not going to be pretty, and so on. And so, of course, that plays into part of the propaganda put out by reality TV production, that the biggest problem with reality TV is the threat posed by social media after people get out. The biggest problem with reality TV is the failure of production to take proper care of its talent. I think that's what we call people on reality TV. And American reality TV is moving fast towards unionization and fast towards recognizing that the people on these shows are working rather than, quote, contestants. When the DCMS convened a committee to investigate the deaths on Love Island and the Jeremy Kyle show, they heard testimony mostly from 50 odd people connected with production and 4 people who had been participants in the shows, what production likes to call contestants, what Channel 4 was defiant in calling contestants. Because, of course, if you're a contestant, you can't be assumed to be a worker. You are assumed to be enjoying yourself and to have applied in what somebody told me was a narcissistic way to be on one of these shows. Well, I can say from my own experience, having been on one of these shows, that the majority of people did not apply. The majority of people, like me, were headhunted and were given a very short space of time in which to make a decision about whether or not they would be on the show, and given very little information about the show. The American SAG, AFTRA, unions covers the hosts of these shows, but doesn't so far cover the reality TV participants. Now, that apparently is about to change, and Bethany Frankel and the people at UCAN are certainly pushing for that, but particularly pushing for an understanding that people who are on reality TV shows should be considered as workers, and that they should be paid residuals for repeats and for their appearance on social media plugs and so on for the show. And certainly I was very much aware that I was a central feature of the circle when I attended the NTAs in 2019, and I saw myself up on the screen not once but twice, and I thought, that's interesting, very interesting. But I didn't receive any money for that, of course, and the studio and Channel 4 no doubt have been raking it in on my behalf, without me seeing a penny. But reality TV in the UK, I think even if we were to unionize, the problem is that the production companies are so strong and so in hoik to our present government that it would be very difficult. The union would. Somebody would say, "Oh, I'm not doing this," or "I've been working too many hours today," and the union would take a stand, and production would simply cast somebody else. So I don't think unionization is the only angle to this. I think I think there also has to be some form of agency representation as well. But certainly, I think the present government approach of focusing on mental health and encouraging production to pay for mental health and supervise the mental health of participants long after the show is over simply provides production with even more control over a group of people who they have made extremely vulnerable through the way they were treated on these shows. I can say from my own experience, it took me about 2 years to recover from being on reality TV. Maybe longer, maybe it's still there, but certainly when I see stories like the story of the Bachelorette in America plunging over a cliff, even if that is a pure accident, it triggers a response in me, and I feel great sympathy and great concern for yet another person who joins the huge list of deaths and trauma that is related to people who have been on reality TV shows. Huge.